Hey guys, I'm here with Garrett from Bond Arms. We're here to take a closer look at some of their new product additions for SHOT Show 2017. So Garrett, this looks strikingly familiar to a handgun I've carried for years. Why don't you give me a little lowdown on this new Bond Arms Bullpup?
Absolutely. So this is our new Bullpup. This is serial number 2, as you can see. Down here we got serial number 1. So these are the first 2 Bonds actually built in-house in the factory using Boberg's technology and Boberg's previous design. So this was formerly known as the XR9S, now Bond Bullpup N9. The Bullpup designation is just to make it very clear to the consumer that this is literally as close as you're going to get to a Bullpup design in a handgun. The chamber is behind the trigger, and it's fed directly from a magazine which is situated behind the trigger, which is pretty much what a Bullpup is. As far as what we've done to the Boberg design, the gun was already a very, very good gun. It had some marketing issues, really, more so than actual issues with the gun itself.
Sure.
One thing that we did not like about the gun was the maintenance, and that is also what led to what I believe a lot of the issues with the gun. If you want, I'll go ahead and take it apart and kind of show you what I'm talking about here. You'll see it.
Oh. I'm an old school guy.
All right, so if you're looking at this locking leg right here, that is what interfaces with the barrel. And in the previous Boberg design, you required to have a pea-sized amount of anti-seize in each of those 2 spots right there. Now, that works.
A little oily still.
No worries. And so that works just fine and well as long as the anti-seize is there and the gun hasn't been shot more than, say, 150 times in a row where it's warmed up and all of the anti-seize and the grease and everything has slid everywhere else. So because we're talking about a steel-on-steel interface here, as things heat up, things start sticking.
Absolutely.
And if there's no lube there, you're going to have issues. So what we've done and what both of these guns are is currently, this is a proprietary coating used by Anderson Manufacturing. Okay, this coating is molecularly bonded to the steel and is essentially, as Anderson would say, a lubeless coating. Now, we still recommend a little bit of light oil, but through our testing with this coating, we have been able to get 500 to 700 rounds through the gun without any sort of jamming or any sort of sticking issues like we would have noticed with the original Boberg design. We've also are doing testing with an NP3 coating. I personally have an NP3 coated gun that has over 4,500 rounds through it.
Oh wow.
So by doing that small change, we have really increased the marketability and the usability of this gun. We've also noticed Boberg, when people would call in and say that they would have issues with their gun jamming, they would say, well, you need to put about 400 to 500 rounds through the gun first. That to us is unacceptable. That should be unacceptable to anybody to require any type of break-in period. We know that the vast majority of our customers are probably not going to shoot that many rounds out of the gun, and if they do have to shoot that many rounds out of the gun to feel comfortable in the gun, then we haven't done something right. So I personally have shot, we have 175 of these guns with the frames and the slides left over from our acquisition of Boberg. All the internals are ours. I personally shot 75 to 100 rounds through every single one of those guns. And we're talking 14 different types of range ammunition, 12 different types of hollow points, and the amount of jams I had out of 6,000 rounds could be counted on 2 hands.
Sure, and you said that with the new coating, does that alleviate a lot of the issues they had with case separation? So
the case separation is going to be an issue with ammunition that is not properly manufactured and crimped. That is not a design limitation of the gun. That is a limitation on ammo in the market today.
Gotcha.
That being said, I personally have made an effort. As I'm traveling the country for Bond, I stop at every gun store that I can and try and find every variant and strange type of range ammo that I can. You know, I'm not looking for the weirdest thing that I can find off of the internet, but something that someone can walk into any gun store, Cabela's, you know, Walmart, whatever. I've bought it all. I have 2 brands out of everything that I found that do not work in the gun. That's Blazer Brass and Federal Champion. Other than that, we have limitations on steel case and aluminum case ammo because of the feeding mechanism.
Sure.
That's just a feature. But I do not have case separation issues with almost anything else.
Yeah, I mean, with my Boberg, before they took over, I used to put a lot of Winchester white box through it. People told me there's no way that ammo is going to run fine, that gun. It runs completely fine.
Winchester white box is our recommended range ammunition. I have personally put over 5,000 rounds of Winchester white box through these guns, and I cannot remember the last time my personal gun that has 4,500 rounds through it, I can't remember the last time I had an issue.
Yeah, wow.
And I will shoot 500 to 700 rounds at the range at a time with that gun. So, you know, a lot of this stuff that we hear about this design and it being finicky is more of people talking and not necessarily real facts.
Well, in all fairness, Boberg sold a lot of guns in a prototype basically format.
He beta tested on the public.
He did. It's why he cut a lot of guys a good deal. I myself, I bought one of the first 200 to ever, you know, go into production, and because of that, I had to send my gun back twice to him to get it to run.
Yep. So we, and you'll also notice, if y'all are a follower of our gun, that we haven't brought it out fully yet. When we were talking about it would be out by now. And that's not necessarily us not realizing how big of an issue it is. That has more to do with other companies being able to supply certain important things at a quality level that we find acceptable. We're not going to release the gun with something that we find unacceptable. So right now, we're looking at a May-June timeframe for rollout of the gun. It's always going to be a low production gun in the beginning.
Sure.
You know, the Bobergs originally retail at $1,200 to $1,300. We're going to be below that.
Nice.
I don't have a firm price for you, but we're going to be below that.
Fantastic.
The goal is to be below 1,000. We might not hit that with the initial production run, but we're going to get there once we bump up volume and people start really seeing what this gun can do.
Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hey, stay tuned for more coverage of SHOT Show 2017, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, you guessed it, subscribe for more Burst Review.